Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Megan,
I'm Matt.
and you're listening to
The Night Owl.
Okay, so I can trust that the audio works. I didn't include us in the stream, so that's why we couldn't hear it. But welcome, you guys. It's been a minute. I did add some old footage from May on our Anchor podcast. So go to anchor.fm, type in the Night Owl Chicago. You will hear our collaborative podcast that we've been doing with the Not So Late live stream show, which, I'm still part of their production team. I am the production team now, but I added that last one from I think it's near the end of May. So it is June now, or it's July now, and don't worry, I will start adding, all the older audio to our Anchor, but our live stream today is just going to be audio version. I find, Matthew, that when I start pulling back on the content, we get more views, and people actually have been emailing now, like, when's the next episode? So I always say just go to YouTube, because then you can just see our live collaborative stuff. We have some pressing news, and we have some interesting news, and some fun tidbits from our listeners. We go on Facebook, and I still put up memes, or I'll put up questions and do a little poll. And I like when you guys interact with each other. And I also like when you comment on each other's comments, which means that you guys really give a shit about each other, which is great. But yeah, it's summertime. It's goddamn summertime now. Goddamn summertime, Matthew. How are you doing, by the way?
All right.
You doing okay?
Doing great.
Doing great. Feel good?
Feel good.
Yeah, so it's hot, it's sticky, it's rainy, it's sunny, it's everything in between, I guess.
And dirty and gritty.
Yeah.
Back of my neck.
Yeah. Well, I usually shave my head. Like, I shave the back and sides. I have long dreads now, but I just went crazy, and I didn't do a 1. I just did like a 0, because I just want to be prepared for those 95-degree days, and I sweat like a man anyway when I'm just standing still. So comment on your summer parties that you guys have been going to. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks into summer now. We have in Chicago, we've had a lot of festivals, we've had a lot of parties, and I've been DJing like a motherfucker, like crazy, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. I'm just trying to fill my summer with fun and just relaxation, and
doing it up.
So if you guys are new, I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And this is the Night Owl Chicago, an all-inclusive podcast that talks about music, art, and life, and everything in between. So, Matthew, why don't you kickstart us today? Everybody, if you're listening, grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get to it.
As you know, this is probably the everything in between. We do like our lighthearted stuff. We like our funny stuff, but we also like talking about what
real pressing stuff
and shit that impacts us and maybe also impacts you. And I think most recently here, right, we had the Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. If you're not familiar with that, or if you've had your head stuck in the sand, that is the right for women to have abortions. We've already up to 7 states now that have outlawed that. So yes, if you are keeping score at home right now, guns have more rights than women here in this country. And it looks like we are taking not just a step back, but maybe one giant leap and a couple other giant leaps. Maybe we jumped in a car and now we're on our way barreling backwards. That's almost what it feels like right now, especially if you've seen some of the news here regarding even some of the other justices in their comments, especially Clarence the Turd Thomas. Don't get a feeling. I don't really like him at all. Matter of fact, I really wish he would just go away. But he is a driving force behind this, especially if you kind of read any of the articles about him and how he's come out. I think there's even a new one out about kind of Hillary, because
really?
They were in law school together.
Oh, I did not know
she
that.
Had some comments about him, and basically he's still the same very vindictive human being. He took the long play for this one and finally got it. He's also looking to maybe overturn a few other things. So not just women's right here, but also it looks like potentially the Marriage Equality Act could be in trouble here. And again, he's just opening doors for things that I don't really think he maybe fully understands, because once you start to go down those roads of limiting people and their rights, which is absolutely what has happened here, what else you want to limit? Who else do you want to give fewer rights to? I mean, if you're not going to allow same-sex marriage, a lot of people have argued then the next thing that could go would be marriages that are of different races. That would be potentially banned, especially in some states here. If the Supreme Court were to be able to get behind that, which if you look at how they argued to overturn Roe v. Wade, which is what makes a lot of people upset, right? Because that same argument could be used pretty much for
anything that they find that's
anything they
different.
choose to go back and overturn.
Yeah,
which is
they
what
want to go back to the 1950s.
which
basically.
is what they said they would not do. I think pretty much
Just because
everybody.
they say it doesn't mean it's going to happen. People
well,
say a lot of
that's
things.
why a lot of people are upset. But
what they say is like what you say should be set in stone. We trust you. We are trusting you with our lives. Whether you're a politician, you're a police officer, you are serving us, right? We the people, the Declaration of Independence. I mean, not only were we separating from Britain, like we were trying to be free country, right? July 4th coming up, but we're already free from Britain. So what's next? Oh, we're just going to go through all this turmoil of racism, politics, politicians getting greedy, activists looking like they're crazy. Like it's just, we're all like backwards. And when everything goes to shit, we're going to rely on the healers. And you know what the healers are going to say? I told you so. Because we're going to be eating bark off of a tree and like walking everywhere because we don't have cars anymore. I don't mind. We could do away with the cars. I mean, I feel like a hypocrite every time we get in a car and we're like, yes, it's so expensive. But, like you're right. Those laws can honestly go towards anything that they find threatening to their world. Not ours, not you and my world, but to their world, right?
no, I mean, it seems like there's an assault going on. It's been going on for quite some time, and truth and justice appear to be losing this battle where we are. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of the January 6th stuff.
Oh yeah, the January, yeah,
See if they actually do charge Trump with anything, if anything, just to block him from being able to run in 2024. Because if you are keeping score at home, right, he is the one who appointed the last three. He got 3 justices in his brief stint as a president. Although on a brighter note here, maybe this is one way to start turning our news up that tick to the positive end, right?
There is a new, someone.
Jackson
yes.
here did get appointed here, so now we finally have a Black American female here on our Supreme Court, which is.
Is this who it is?
Yes. So it's sorely needed and probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think that we need her because look at her. She's this beautiful Black woman. And I know, like I always say, like, it sucks that we have to use our race and stuff to get what we want. I mean, I'm not saying that she did, but like, I think it does help society, and it makes, like, just when Obama. I mean, everyone wanted Michelle to be president. I would have voted for her over.
Very clear who he was going to appoint, as far as the person and what makeup they were going to be, and honestly, it needed to be done. I'm just hoping here, and it doesn't appear that she is going to turn out that way. But again, we are where we are, right? Because they decided they had to have, replace Thurgood Marshall, right? You had to have another Black man sitting on that Supreme Court, and they picked Clarence Thomas, who just turned out to be a turd of a human being.
And we still have what's his face, Kavanaugh. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, another turd. Writes down like all the times he assaulted women on his calendar. I mean, why don't you just burn that thing, man? He obviously kept it because he is a predator and he's a narcissist, and he likes to remember. He likes to go back. It's like the criminal going back to the crime scene. I just want to keep it as a token, like. You don't care about society or the world, like you just care about yourself.
Maybe from one turd to
another,
that
you and I actually really like this person.
I would say we right.
It was almost like there's a lot of people I think you and I liked in movies, actors and stuff that we were just like, oh man,
I mean,
like
even when
he
split,
Dave Chappelle,
right? It was still like okay, right? And if you don't know who we're talking about one of the Chris's, very specifically about one Chris Pratt. I thought even when him and Anna Faris split, that they were still going to be cool parents, and he still was cool, right? He was on Community. and he seemed real cool, but every once in now and then something would kind of slip out that maybe led you believe that, oh, maybe he's not quite the person that he presents himself to be. I'm sure probably nobody quite remembers when it was like some MTV music something, but he was up there and it was the cast of Community. And
I loved him in that, dude.
well,
Because they wanted him because he was a Midwest-looking guy.
Goes, Aubrey Plaza is basically like, don't go all churchy up there, dude. Don't go all Jesus on us. And he went up there and went all, if you're not praying, something's wrong with you. And if you don't believe in Jesus, something's wrong with you. It's like, whoa, Chris, what's going on here with that? So if you're not in tune to what's been going on, Mr. Chris Pratt is back in the news. He's got a new movie out called The Terminal List, which appears to be some kind of right-wing propaganda movie. And he was also in the news recently because his wife, Catherine Schwarzenegger, right, gave birth to a healthy baby, which he tweeted out that he appreciated the fact that his young wife, healthy wife, gave birth to a healthy boy.
So fucked up.
Which a lot of people took as a dig to his ex-wife and to their son that they have. And
it said that he said something on a post, I guess.
He did take it down. He took it down on an Instagram there, right? He posted it on Instagram, and I don't know, maybe
he said, find someone who looks at you the way my wife looks at me. And then I give her some shit in the thing and said, but I love you. I'm so thankful for my wife. She gave me a beautiful, healthy daughter. Then a bunch of articles came out and said, that's so cringeworthy. I can't believe Chris Pratt would thank her for a healthy daughter when his first child was born premature. That's such a dig at his ex-wife. That is fucked up. My son's going to read that one day, and he's 9, and it's etched in his digital stone. So, I guess this was someone that had commented on this.
Yeah, and then he commented back on that, realizing, oh, my son's going to see this, and he could interpret that as, I guess I wasn't.
He said, Chris Pratt said, it really fucking bothered me, dude. I cried about it. He said, he told Men's Health. I was like, I hate that these blessings in my life are, to the people close to me, a real burden. Like, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that you're being an asshole and you're not considering the fact that, like, first of all, the baby comes from your fucking balls, okay? So, like, God does the rest, okay? If you believe in God or creation or whatever, like, yeah, you do what you can do when you have your baby. I was born 2 weeks premature. I still had to be in a special ICU. I mean, I could have had any issue. You can tell with, I think the beginning of the second trimester, you can tell when your baby's going to be born with autism, or not autism, but like a deformity or some sort of thing, mental, physical or mental disability. And it's like, I think that's why they broke up. I mean, I wanted to know if he or Anna cheated, but maybe that's why.
I don't think I think he is a bit two-faced. I mean, even look at this article, right?
He said, he didn't know that I would kind of become the face of religion when really I'm not a religious person. I think that there's a distinction between being religious, adhering to customs created by man, oftentimes approaching the awe reserved for what I believe is a very real God, and using it to control people, to make money from people, to abuse children, to steal land, to justify hatred. Whatever it is, the evil that's in the heart of every single man has glommed onto the back of religion and it'll come along for the ride. Now, I agree with him for that. I mean,
but for him not to say I'm not really... He
is
a member of a church.
You go to church.
This church is known to be an anti-LGBTQ church. Sorry, dude. Quit saying you're not religious when every other chance you get, you keep bringing it up.
And like, maybe you're not going to a church that abuses children, steals land, but you're justifying hatred.
Yeah.
So you're kind of being you're contradicting yourself.
Who are you crapping?
Yeah, like you're contradicting yourself because you are saying, it's not justifying evil or justifying hatred, I guess, but that's what it is. I mean, those are probably the people that voted against abortion. Yes. And I think maybe I'm saying, this is my conspiracy brain. Allegedly, I think maybe Chris Pratt wished he didn't have that first kid. I mean,
well, maybe, but you do bring up.
I don't know what the conversation was when she was pregnant.
Partly because the reason why abortion is overturned is now because more than ever, it's very much arguable. You can argue here in this country, we really don't have separation of church and state. As a matter of fact, you look at some of the current politicians. like the one in Colorado, the loudmouth, she has already come out and stated it should be church before state. Church should dictate what government does, and that's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. It's like when Henry VIII was king. He didn't like the Protestants because the Protestants don't believe right. They don't believe in Jesus, right? They believe in the Old Testament, pretty much. They're like kind of like Jewish people, but he made his own church because he didn't like the way that he didn't believe in the Pope. I think that's what it was.
They all believed in that.
He didn't believe Henry VIII. Henry VIII didn't believe in the Pope. He wanted to have his own church. Yeah,
they didn't allow for divorce.
Yeah, and he basically, and then there's kings. I think King Louis from France. I don't know which one he was, but he believed that God made him king. Like that's, you have a ceremony with a pope or with the archdiocese or whatever, and they crown you, and you're a king or a queen under God, and instead of just like you just are better than everyone. I mean, that's why I like Game of Thrones, because they did believe in God, the characters did, but they weren't kings and queens because of God. They just happened to be better than everyone, and they had more money, and they just could do it. They could build castles and buy armies, but yeah, I mean, I think that's crazy that he's turning into this person. I mean, there's so many celebrities that you and I have been seeing just from going from the worst of being predatory, like, Ezra Miller, like with The Flash, and, just all these characters coming out of the woodwork. And then there's also just kind of the cringeworthy things where, I mean, maybe Chris Pratt, maybe you're right. Maybe allegedly we think he's always been like this. Maybe that's why they divorced, because there was no infidelity going on with either of them. Anna Faris, quite frankly, I think is one of my top favorite, like, B-list actresses. I would say she's B-list because she's never been in like a big like movie, but she and Anna Kendrick, like those kind of girls, they're smart, they're funny, they're good at what they do, they're very outspoken, and Anna Faris probably didn't want to slow down, and I think that she said that they were competing a lot with their work. Like, she said that because she'd spilled the beans like a few months after they divorced, people were asking them why. And she was just saying sometimes their schedules were bad. But I think she said he'd always try to he always thought he was a better actor than her. Like, she would be in these, like, the Not Another Scary Movie and the Playboy or the Bunny, the Bunny one. And she was so fucking fun. And then she had her own TV show. Yeah, Chris Pratt, do you have your own TV show? No. Okay. So you make more money when you're in a TV show. And Anna Faris could do comedy. Like, she's that funny. But yeah, maybe he was always like that. Maybe, and that's why kids, you do not get invested in celebrities. See them for who they are. Enjoy the glamour part. Enjoy just seeing them in a movie.
Human beings.
They're all like us. They fuck up, and a lot of the times they don't want that shit coming out. I mean, I'm not going to talk about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, but like, that's a big example of trying to use your power and trying to like, she basically said that he won because he's Johnny Depp and everyone loves him. It's like, no, he won because of the evidence and because you lied. Like, it's not because he's a character. Like, she was basically pushing that, like, oh, everyone loves his character. I'm like, no, it's not because he's a character, a lovable character. She said lovable character. I was like, wait, he's not Mickey Mouse. Like, what? So yeah, learn from those people. Learn from the Amber Heards and the Chris Pratts and the Juicy Smollett. Isn't that what Chappelle said? I saw his stand up when like it first came out with Jussie Smollett. Like, I mean, Chappelle is one of those douchebags too that's now more douchier than ever. But I'll tell you what, in 2019, when he did his stand up about Jussie Smollett, he called him Juicy Smollett. He's like, you ever heard about that French guy, Juicy Smollett? Because he said that that was the first time that black people actually like believed the cops. Like, they were just like, he's like, none of us, like, I guess Jussie said he was mad at the black community because they were quiet and they were silent about it. And it was because they knew he was lying.
You were lying about
yeah. It's like, how many MAGA people with MAGA hats you see in Chicago?
Understand that he did anything wrong.
Now, if he was in LA, yes, MAGA hats galore, but not in Chicago. You don't see that. And you're walking a subway at 3 a.m. when it's minus 16 degrees.
The fact that they proved that you staged all of it.
He slept with those actors. They were in Empire, and a lot of and then he was on an interview with Sway, and Sway is like the nicest guy. He used to be in MTV News, right? Or he was an MC for MTV, I think. But the interview that Sway gave him was just not. He didn't do any curveballs, any hard questions. It was like Jesse was so relaxed and comfortable. Whereas he even said that he didn't. We'll talk about it in another podcast, but because it's really interesting, like what he says. I'll actually share the video with you guys as we talk about it. I think we should. You and I should watch it, and we'll break it down.
That would be a good thing to do.
Yeah. So the next one we're going to talk about. I think I have 2 questions. Is that all the topics you have? Okay. So I'm just going to talk about the interaction with you guys. I put up last week some questions on our Night Owl Facebook page. So go to the Night Owl Chicago or TNO Chicago on Facebook. You can join for free, and you'll be able to catch up on all of our live streams. And I think once a week I usually put up a question, or I share a meme or something like really fun, and people interact. They send us comments. So and you guys can email us too. Our email is thenightowlchicago@gmail.com. So you could send us some topics you want us to talk about. I think we've had people do that in the past. Or you can anonymously share a story that you want to share with us, or ask a question. So these are the 2 questions I have. This one is going to be the first one. This is: my wife grew up thinking that having water or ice dispensers in the fridge door was a life goal. I grew up thinking if you had a basketball hoop with a clear plexiglass background, you were rich. What are some of the things that you thought were indicators of wealth when you were a kid? So Matthew, you can go first. What did you think? Because you grew up in kind of like the farmland area. So like, what was?
Like I told you when you presented that, I said those two things to me would have indicated that you were probably, I would put you higher up in that stratosphere. Getting eventually depending on the size of your garage. Where I grew up, there weren't mansions of any kind like that or anything until, maybe the early 90s, when eventually a family moved in. We all knew that what he did, he made $1 million more. I mean, he was a millionaire, and there they went, they built a mansion. It had a bowling alley and swimming pool and basketball court and all the things that when you think of rich and all the well-off, that's what it had.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I think the ice dispenser thing for me, for sure, because I grew up in the suburbs and we didn't have the smart kitchen thing yet. And then I think when I got older, my aunt did it in her house, and I was just like, what? Like, I don't have to reach my hand in and like grab some ice and fumble with it. So some of you guys commented. I'm going to read the most relevant comments. Someone said a 2-story house. Shoes that were not bought at Payless. When mom wore those matching jumpsuits and dad was golfing all the time. An indoor bathroom. Someone said having a birthday party when I lived with my mom. Someone said Air Jordans. Those are still kind of cool though. I thought having a pool meant you were rich. Someone commented that.
Yeah.
And then someone said had to be an in-ground pool. Someone commented on their comment.
Well, not the one you busted out. Yeah, not the tin
circular
trough or the one you buy and then it would disintegrate by the end of the year.
Central AC. Having a car that wasn't rusted out, sounding like the muffler was going to fall off and the holes in the floorboard to where you could see the ground moving. So embarrassing getting dropped off at your friend's house or giving them a ride.
We had a few of those vehicles that you could see the road underneath as you drove along.
Someone said, let's see, living outside the city limits. Nike shoes with the visible air pockets. Yeah, someone said ice dispenser for sure. Dishwasher, matching bedroom furniture sets. I could see that too. I mean that
furniture.
You could buy it on Wayfair now. You could buy a whole furniture set.
That would have been pretty big. We didn't know anybody that outside of a bed, no one had bedrooms big enough to have furniture in them.
Now the plexiglass backboard, I think, is kind of like old school because someone said they just bought it for their grandson. So like that was then. I mean I feel like
growing up, what was in people's yards and stuff like that was, plain plastic. You didn't see that, but we did go to school with a kid whose dad built basically an indoor, and it had two professional glass backboards. And of course,
Jesus!
During the day, this thing was used for as a gymnastic. They taught gymnastics there, but at night, then we could go. He'd invite people over and to shoot full court hoops on these like super duper awesome backboards, and it was heated in there. And the only thing that they ever asked,
it was heated in there too.
Oh yeah, I mean the only thing they ever asked was just to throw a buck or two in, just to help pay.
I would. Someone said I always thought people with finished basements were rich. I used to love hanging out with friends in one. Felt like we had our own place.
I thought that was always the luxury of
I thought it was cool in college when you had college friends that like you'd hang out with them at their parents' house and they had a full furnished basement. But they also lived in like Bartlett, so there's that. I just got my. Let's see it. Someone said, "I thought you were rich if you lived in Cambridge Drive in Paxton." I don't know what that is, but let's see. Yeah, someone said crushed ice. Someone said a trampoline, having cable TV or caller ID.
Oh boy, yeah, I thought that was the bee's knees if you had that.
Someone had a hot tub. Went to Disney. Any Disneyland or Disney World. Those are both fucking expensive. Let's see. Someone said, "Oh, the Schwann's stuff. Like the Schwann's guy. I used to love the Schwann's delivery guy. You see that yellow truck, the off-white yellow truck come up? Yeah, the Schwann man. I always used to say Swan Man.
The Swan Man.
Because didn't they have a swan on it?
Yeah,
So I was like, is it Schwann or Swan?
Swan.
Like, make up your mind. A brick mailbox and brand name cereal. Yep. Okay. So I'm an adult, and I think people that have those outdoor barbecue pits with like the furniture and like the cement and everything, that's pretty luxurious. Because that means that you have parties, right? Nintendo and Power Wheels, brand name soda, houses with multiple bathrooms, kids that rode GT and dyno bikes that weren't stolen. Dyno bikes were expensive. Designer clothes, a car that's hubcaps and rusted didn't define it. Two real parents that gave a fuck. You could also have two real parents and be rich and they don't care. But you're fine. You're probably all right. So that's that. Those are those comments. Thank you guys for sharing that. And then I think I'll just share one or two comments for this one. It says, "What's your favorite rabbit hole?" So I asked this one. It wasn't a meme. So someone commented and said, "I'm a nerd, so reading academic papers usually on depressing environmental topics. Curiously, according to the academic website, I use my name is supposedly referenced. I use my name as supposedly referenced in over 1,300 papers, and I'm not sure why, but it's certainly no good reason." Someone said math, physics, I'm never going to use. Cellular automata, fractal communication, intelligence of animals. I've gone down on some others, but I end up stressed out from it. So these are definitely more feel good. Crime pays, but botany doesn't. Let's see. Okay, so this is what I've gone down a rabbit hole with. This person commented, "How sacred geometry straight up shows us the patterns of creation. They are the blueprints of which the universe was made. So much information within them is insane. I'm a sucker for mathematical constants, physics, energy, and philosophy." Because like every flower, like there's like the DNA, like spirals and everything.
You are made up of the stars.
The 20 to 40 minute YouTube video essay, alien conspiracy theories. I don't believe in them much, but they are so fun to read. Someone said literally anything true crime. So that's a fellow murderino. Hello. Let's see. One more. Song covers. Alien, spirituality, spiritual world, conspiracy theories about spirituality in our government, the Matrix, neuroscience, and psychology. I mean, those are rabbit holes, but they're also like I mean, you have to be careful because sometimes they're just misinformation, which sucks.
Yeah, you could go break the fourth wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, buying car parts for drag racing, electrical guitar supplies. Let's see. Wait, where did it go? Oh, here. Hi, Bean. Our cat is coming over to us. I think she's giving us the signal over here. If you guys don't know, our cat Wednesday is our producer, so she gives us the signal, which means that she just wants us to pet her. Oh, I know, Bubba. All right. Well, we're going to cut it short because she wants pets and probably dinner. So we want to tell you guys that we love you so much. We want you to have fun this summer, take a break,
It's summertime.
you know, hang out with your friends, and be sure to be safe. And yeah, we love you guys so much. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're listening to
The
The Night Owl.